I'm speaking of Spock now. I would like to have a battle to the death with Kelvin Spock. Hilarious. There can only be one.
There can only be one.
And I mean, this will always be my answer. I think Nimoy's Spock informed the performance of Brent as Data, who I think informed the performance of me, and I would love to have scenes with Data.
There you go. Now, you know I'm going to make you applaud again, just so you know. Because I'm recording this for a podcast as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi.
Hello.
Come on.
Is everybody having a good, oof, that's warm. Everybody having a good con so far? Good. I gotta push this back. I am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm glad we have enough microphones for everybody, so that's great.
Sorry for anybody by a speaker. Guard your ears.
Well, thanks for coming out, everybody. I'm so glad we're having a big crowd here at Terrificon. My name's John Siuntres. I host a podcast called Word Balloon. It's at wordballoon.com, and I get to talk to cool people like this from one of the best shows on television currently, Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Thank you.
Happy to welcome, I was going to say Celia again.
Celia.
Celia, thank you. Celia Rose Gooding. Celia,
yeah,
pardon
one
me.
out.
See? All right.
You're good.
I'm adding that extra syllable because I really like it.
Thank you.
Celia Gooding and Ethan Peck, everybody. Now, I want people to ask questions because this is your opportunity to really get in there. And my God, I'm sure after 2 seasons now, you got to have a ton of questions. We got that great teaser scene at San Diego Comic-Con. Did everyone see the teaser scene at San Diego Comic-Con? It's on YouTube. Excellent. I guess I got to start with that because that's like the big shocker and the little tidbit you gave us for next season. Hey, man, you're not the only Vulcan on the ship anymore.
No, I'm not, and I'm now just a half Vulcan.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly.
Really,
4.5 Vulcans to beam down. Exactly.
Really hammered that home.
Really gave me a hard time on that episode.
I was okay. I think Pike gave you a real hard time.
This is true.
Well, and it's great to see you with your hairdo because truly, at first, like, oh, that's nice. She's got a new, kind of, beautiful coif. I'm like, that's great. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you become a Vulcan, and now we got the dreads and everything. I think that's awesome, man.
Yeah, how was that? How was it being Vulcan?
It was fun. I think so much of the excitement around that episode was just how everybody was going to look.
Yeah.
I think we spent a lot of time trying, I know I tried 4 different hairstyles before we ended up with
really?
that.
What were the first 3?
There was a mohawk. Yeah.
That would have been cool.
It would have been, but I think they were worried it was going to look too Klingon.
Oh, yeah,
And
right.
so we tried a mohawk. We tried... it looked almost like Pike's hair, but it was very what? It was like a fro, but it was shaped differently. It was very
like with a fade
fro.
Very 90s.
Yeah, very 90s, very 90s, MC Hammer,
I didn't see any of this.
Yeah, no, I'll show you. And then we ended up with the braided bob, which was my favorite. Clearly, I kept it for myself. But we tried a whole bunch of different stuff. Tried a bunch of different eyebrows. Everybody had a bunch of different looks that they had to workshop, and so my favorite part is getting dressed up. I'm the dress up fan, and so getting to see all what could have been was really exciting too.
That's excellent. Is there a possibility that as the show gets closer and closer to the original series that we might see you in an Uhura 60s bouffant?
I'm sure that is a dream for many. I don't know. I think there are some things that are sacred and very special, and I think that's as Zoe had her ponytail, Nichelle has her coif, and I have my everything else.
I respect that. Absolutely. Did you? And forgive me because the timeline gets confusing.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to meet Nichelle?
Unfortunately, I didn't.
Okay.
We had a plan to, but I wanted to be really respectful of her health and her situation, and so I kept a respectful distance, and we made a plan, and then unfortunately the universe intervened. But I feel very connected to her through the character, so I don't feel like I'm missing much.
I think you, and I'm sure we all agree, she represents the character so well. They both do, obviously. And Ethan, were you too young when your grandfather passed away? I wanted to ask you a grandfather question.
I was 17.
Oh, okay, you were 17. Great. Yeah. Oh, wow. So how much did you talk to your grandfather about, his career and everything?
Almost none. Almost zero. Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I have many questions for him now, but it just wasn't a topic that we spoke about for whatever reason.
Well, that's okay. I mean, yeah, he's grandpa. Who cares? I mean, exactly. I don't care what my grandpa does, whatever.
I totally care. No, I think it's great.
How early in your life did you go, I want to act?
When I said I wanted to act, probably like 31.
Really? That late?
Yeah.
Really?
But I've been acting since I was 7. But I don't think I was doing it for me,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, man. Was it tough?
Which part?
Well, all of it, but yeah. The prior to 31 and stuff, like, was it unenjoyable or?
It was more about doing it for myself and not because I thought I had to. So I almost quit when I was 30.
Wow.
And I decided, I kind of took a year off, and I decided that if I could have a life as an actor and that I might have some aptitudes for the profession, that it would be a very cool life to have. And once I started doing it for myself, things sort of started to work out for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys start lining up if you want to ask questions? Because truly, I really want to give you guys as much time as possible to ask stuff. Oh, there, gentleman bolts right up. That's excellent. Sir, you look like one of the vice presidential candidates. Governor Walz. I apologize. I don't mean to, exactly. I don't mean to label you, but you could be a cosplayer. You could have come in a suit, and we would have thought you were cosplaying the gentleman. Please, your question.
First of all, on behalf of a lot of people, I want to thank you for carrying the torch and so beautifully.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Quickly, my question is for both of you. Mm-hmm. Assuming the characters you're playing and the history of these characters, what process did you go through to make them your own and so beautifully? To make them your own take on them?
I think, not to bring it back to looks and appearance, but I think something that really separated me from my predecessors, is that the right word?
Sure.
Was just appearance. I think so much of Uhura was her iconic look just because she didn't have much time to speak for herself. And so I really started making it my own by shaving my head and showing up. And I don't know, I think there is something we have a really unique opportunity to know where our characters end. We know who they are. We just have to play how they get there. And so that gives us an opportunity to really showcase different sides of the characters, especially in their youth. That was a huge part of making it my own. And just being a different person, understanding that you're not a carbon copy of who came before you. You're given an opportunity to make it your own. So as actors, I think it comes quite naturally.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of the answer to that question is the responsibility of the casting directors. Mm-hmm. So when I auditioned for the role, I didn't know what role it was for. I knew it was for a Star Trek show, but I didn't know it was for Spock until my final audition. Mm-hmm. And the sides are the scenes that we get for the audition, right? You get two to three scenes normally. And they were written by a writer named Alan McElroy, who actually now writes for our show. He's a wonderful, wonderful man and writer. And they're written in a way to bring out the qualities that they hope will bring out of an actor. So you interpret them, you present what you've interpreted in your audition, and then they choose, right? And so I think a lot of the work had already been done in the casting process. But I would argue that it's sort of impossible to not be, to not make it your own, to use your words, because I'm so different from Zachary Quinto, from Leonard Nimoy. And eventually the writers start to write for your strengths in the character. So I think they've discovered that I might have sort of a knack for maybe some humor with the character and exploring his humanness, and at least that's my hypothesis. I'm not sure that they do that actually. And so it's a combination of things, really. But I think it really starts in casting, and they do a great job with our show.
They do, and thank you very much.
Thank
you. I'm curious, what...
Yes, Celia? Yes. You over there in the black hat.
Yes.
Hi, Ethan, huge fan. Just a question. What scenes did you get for your audition?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
And did they make it to the show?
No, not at all, because the character was named Tom the Andorian.
Okay, Tom.
Tom the Andorian.
Come on. I mean, and it was a guy that appeared to me to it seemed like he was on drugs and in a cave and speaking in tongues, basically.
Got it.
And Michael Burnham comes to the cave to sort of retrieve this character.
Yeah.
And he's very confused.
Got
and
it.
so they had nothing to do, sort of, almost with what we ended up filming.
Cool.
What were yours?
It was our scene in the cave when
No
I'm talking
way.
about. Well, it was your girlfriend must like that, huh? Nurse Chapel. That one.
no way.
No, it was that one, and then it was the both of my audition scenes made it into the final, but it was the formal wear, the conversation that I have with Ortegas before we go to the first captain's dinner.
Oh, yeah.
So those two were the ones that I had, and I also didn't know that I was auditioning for Uhura until after I booked it.
What did they name your character? What was your fake name?
Her fake name was Yaboa, and when I told my mom that I was auditioning, my mom's a huge Trekkie, shout out moms everywhere. I told her, I was like, oh, Mom, I'm auditioning for a Star Trek show. And she was like, who are you playing? And I was like, some lady named Yaboa. And she's like, Yaboa, who is that? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, are you sure it's not Uhura? And I'm like, no, it's not what it said. That wasn't on the paper, so no.
Interesting.
So, of course, my mother, as all mothers are, she was always right.
Did you assume that in both cases they didn't want you to do a Quinto or a Nimoy imitation or a In the Shell imitation or
I had
Zoe?
no idea that was the world I was
no.
living in, and so I just they gave me the
Lines
character
for it, yeah.
description, and
Oh, okay.
now looking back and reading it, I'm like, that's very obviously Uhura, a young communications officer who can sing. I had no idea until I was on the way to my first fitting that that's the role I was.
That's
carrying.
crazy. You didn't find out until
Wild.com.
Still blows my mind.
Yeah.
Well, and also regarding singing, of course, you got to bring up the musical episode, and we have the two polar opposites here because we have the Broadway baby,
Yeah.
and we have the dude that's like, I gotta sing, really, really.
This is nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously a great opportunity, and as I understand it,
Yeah.
Christina is also. I mean, I haven't
She's
heard
the
her
real
album.
singer of the
Yeah.
cast, truthfully.
Wow.
She
But
is
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really, really wonderful.
And Rebecca has training in musical theater.
I didn't know that either. Wow, that's
and
great.
Melissa has, I don't know if she has
Wait, really?
I don't know if she has musical theater training, but I know she's a theater kid, and so
Okay.
we have a lot of theater folks, like undercover theater folks in our cast.
I heard Anson say that this was great, and especially where it was in the production schedule for the musical, because it's a grind, obviously.
Yeah.
Real fast, how long does it take to make an episode? 10 days? Longer?
12.
Okay, because again, it's always with streaming, you wonder if there is an adherence to a strict shooting, schedule and everything.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, Anson's like, well, you're kind of wiped out after 8 or 9 episodes of shooting, and this is this breath of fresh air. And I would imagine, even though Ethan, it may not have been comfortable to sing, at least you get to stretch and do something from a theatrical standpoint different than the usual thing.
Absolutely.
Fair?
Absolutely.
And how did you both? What about the opportunity?
It was really exciting to hear about. I remember when we first talked about doing a musical episode, and I thought you guys were pranking me because my experience.
I also thought it was a joke.
Yeah, because Akiva likes to be silly and funny.
A musical episode, and I
He's
was
like,
like,
yeah, jokes. And he's
Huh?
like, we're going to do an underwater episode. And we're like, what's real and what's a lie? And so when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, hilarious. And then I actually saw it and I was like, oh, dear God. Just because I have all of my training before Trek was musical theater training.
Yes.
And so I don't know. I was really nervous because I have a reputation of being the theater kid, and I'm always singing in between takes. Like, I really set myself up. And so when we found out we were doing it, I was nervous and then really excited. And then I saw how my cast family showed up for it, and it was like really, really wonderful. And I know we have some shyer folks about singing, but everyone on our cast has a beautiful singing voice.
Your voice is spectacular.
Thanks, Fran.
You're spectacularly
Thank you.
talented singer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Like a freakishly good singer.
It's wild history. But I was really, really nervous. Then I got really excited. And then showing up to choreography rehearsals on our only weekends off, and just everyone's devotion to it gave me a lot of confidence that it would be I had no fears that it wasn't going to work, but when you do musicals are either well received or hated on. And so I'm really glad we were on the well received end of the reception spectrum.
But shout out to the haters too, because not
shout out to the
everyone
haters, baby. Thanks for streaming.
But yeah, I mean, what's amazing, I'll say really quickly, what's amazing about our cast is that everyone is so dedicated and so hardworking and committed and talented. And so there was no one batted an eye when they were like musical episode. We were like, oh,
except for Babs.
Okay, yeah, Babs was like, no, thank you.
I'll pass, thank you.
He sings one line in the whole show.
Singing is generous.
That's true.
But no, Babs did a wonderful job.
But everybody really dove in, and it's very special to be a part of a cast that is so committed. I don't think that this will repeat in my career to have as dedicated and kind of a cast.
Yeah.
So. Remember that.
I will.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
Very cool. Sir.
Hello. Hi, yes, my name's Edwin. Very nice to see you both again. I just want a brief comment. Ethan, please don't feel intimidated by singing ability because Leonard Nimoy released several albums, so go for it.
Yeah, man.
Bilbo Baggins?
Yeah, and or even the song he sang on the original series, Bitter Dregs, where he's got the layer. Come on, man. We're waiting for your alternate take on Bitter Dregs. Come on.
Yeah, maybe I should just.
They're absolutely going to have us at some point. I'm so sure of it.
And I just want to thank you both. You brought so much depth to both iconic characters. I think you paid respect to the original and you made it your own, as you both said and alluded to. And Celia, especially like the second episode of Strange New Worlds, we thankfully learned more about Uhura in that episode than I think we did the entire original series and the movies. So thank you for that. My question is, there's going to be a finite life to Strange New Worlds, because obviously you're in the timeline leading up to Pike's accident and the original series. Do you think there's a possibility that you guys would continue and make episodes set in the original series? I don't know what the show would be called, but kind of like an addition rather than a remake with Paul Wesley and you guys. I think it would be wonderful to see that. And I'm a diehard fan of the original series, and I personally would love to see you guys continue it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. I would love to. That's job security. Hello. But yeah, that sounds like a blast.
I'm open to it, for sure.
Great.
Yeah, as long as they do it properly and take care of the, original series.
Watch this space then.
Yeah, thank you.
As I understand it, next season, we haven't gotten any scenes yet, but they're finally going to really get more into the Kirk-Spock relationship in season 3. Without spoiling, is that a fair?
Maybe.
All right, there you go. Good answer.
There's some scenes that happen on a show that we exist upon.
Well, and also, honestly, I'm really curious to see Uhura and Kirk's relationship evolve, especially given, you were a cadet. And you'll forgive me because I'm such a nerd. I read the novels as well. Yeah. And it was almost like Uhura was more again, I guess she was already on the Enterprise, even in the novels. Do you guys ever read in the extemporaneous BS? And how much have you watched of, and I'm saying this as a Trek fan, I love this stuff. But really, do you guys really study the original series and the characterizations?
I did for the first season. I really watched a lot of Nichelle, and then I reminded myself that I'm not trying to be Nichelle Nichols. I'm trying to be Uhura, and so I had to be really, really conscious about sort of not getting too far into the source material, because it's almost like knowing your future. It's like if you know when, this is such a crazy place to go, but if you know that you're gonna die in a freak playground accident, you avoid playgrounds. Right. And so if you know too much about your future, you start to mold your present, and that's unfair to the character. So I try to separate myself.
No, I respect that, but isn't that kind of the center of Strange New Worlds right now? Because Chris knows what the chair's coming in his life, which is an interesting choice. And how you all tackle that as a viewer and a lifelong Trek fan is well, how does that work? My God, like you said, don't you avoid everything? I saw that fantastic episode that was based on the Balance of Terror, the Romulan episode and stuff. And boy, you really got your ass handed to you in that episode, unfortunately.
Sure did.
It was great seeing you guys two have a glimpse of an alternate, but in that TOS era of your characters. Did you both feel like you were slightly playing it a little differently in that Romulan episode?
I tried to.
Well, I think you nailed it, honestly.
Same.
Okay, cool.
It was very intentional, the styling of how we shot it. It was a little different than how we shoot like a traditional Strange New Worlds episode, but there was definitely an energy of like, it's a little different, but also the same.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent, sir.
My name's Eric, and this question is for Ethan. So I know you said you did not want to like follow your predecessors in playing the role. Did you do any, like, what type of research did you do to be a Vulcan and not be Spock? And how did you get into that mindset of having to
Portray this iconic character?
Yes.
Sorry to fill your mouth with words. Yeah, I mean, after I was cast and I knew what the role was, I think the first step was sort of understanding why I had been cast. Like, I was like, oh, what did I do here that sort of predisposed me to this character, to portraying this character? And so there was a little bit of internal searching. And then I spent a lot of time with Leonard Nimoy's performance in the original series, and I tried to understand what he did as an actor, what I interpreted him to be doing as an actor. And at a certain point, like Celia, I sort of stopped watching because I didn't want to be imitating or be too influenced, because it sort of felt alive in me. So I probably stopped watching the original series halfway through the filming of season 2 of Discovery. And then the rest is just, I don't know, I feel like every day I'm learning on set about the character. We get new scripts and new situations and circumstances for these people, and we get to play them. And I just try to be open to, whatever's going on in that moment.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
You go ahead.
No, our consoles are very, on the bridge, our consoles are really near each other. And so in between takes, I'm like, I see Ethan in my peripheral, and it's very interesting to watch, like, the silly, playful Ethan that we know, and then they're like, okay, and set, and then he just, like, locks in. And so it seems very studied. It just commentary on how brilliant I think you are.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Sir, please step up.
Okay, here goes.
You got it.
First of all, my name is Brandon Frey, and I'm such a huge fan of all your work.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I'm so nervous about meeting all the people here who worked here at Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, and whatnot. And not to expect that Deep Space Nine is actually about Star Trek. But I just have one good question for the whole people out there. Oh my God.
You got it.
All good, man.
No one's
we're with you.
Take your time.
Do you think that hold on a second, sir.
Breathe. Sounds good, Brian.
got it.
Poor
I
guy.
feel like this before, when they say like rolling, this is how I feel.
I can't believe I'm asking you guys this question. But do you think there will be another Star Trek movie in the future or something like that?
Oh.
Ooh.
I would do one.
I would totally do
I think we'd be great in a Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
I think that there's been some discussion of it, but nothing's set in stone. But I think it'd be really wonderful. So many of the shows have gotten to do their own films, and I think it'd be so fun to do
We
one.
would have a lot of fun. I think there's a world in which, I don't know, I've had like fever dreams of us and the Kelvin universe finding a way to like cross over.
Interesting.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Very interesting, sure.
It would be weird to see them
Well, but
talking
in-
to her and then us being like,
In
different.
continuity,
Very different.
they've established that it's possible because there was a character, the guy that ended up being Agent Daniels refers to someone that had crossed over in the Kelvin timeline, from the Kelvin timeline, so it is possible.
Well, Quinto's Spock got to meet Leonard's Spock, so
I would
I
love
know.
to meet another Uhura.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be super cool.
So, yeah, so maybe.
Maybe.
Also, I think it'd be cool if we did like a Christmas movie.
I would love that.
That's hilarious.
They
They did the one episode, and it's so briefly mentioned, but there is a Christmas of the original series. There's a Christmas scene, so that's funny.
That would be so fun. Like that or like a shore leave episode. I just want to like do fun slice of life stuff with these iconic characters. I think we see so much of them in their like very serious space navy positions, and just to like go to the beach. Like I would love a beach day.
That was what was
Movie.
great about the Spock body swap with T'Pring, and everybody was on Shore League, and we saw Dr. Mbenga fishing, and and everyone just chilling out and everything.
Any excuse to see Babs in that hat again.
Amazing, yeah. You got something else for us?
Oh, I just want to say thank you so much for all you do, and I hope that I'm so glad that I got to speak to you guys over here, and I hope that the new Star Trek series goes very much well in the next season.
Thank you.
And may the Treks be with you.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Chris here. So nice to meet you both.
Hello.
A big fan of Star Trek. So, question for you: do you have any personally favorite episodes? And doesn't necessarily need to be Strange New Worlds, like even old Trek. I know you haven't watched much. Just there's so many fun episodes of Strange New Worlds. It's hard for me to pick one. Just wondering if you do.
I have a lot of favorites in our series, but like outside of our series, God, y'all are so good at memorizing the titles of stuff, and I am so not. But there's one, I think it's Charlie Mudd, where
Charlie X?
Yes, where the possessed guy sneaks, I don't know, something. But there's one, and then there's one guy who had like this trio of beautiful women, and like.
Oh, that's Mudd's Women. Yeah, Harry
Yes,
Mudd
yes,
and then Mudd's Women. Yes. You like that? That's interesting.
I just thought they were cute.
Wow. Well, that's really Western, because, they were like the miners, and this guy's got the women that they, like, almost like mail order brides, which sadly was a thing back in the 19th century. So, yeah, there was that kind of Western parable of that episode. Oh, that's great.
Those are the ones that just come to mind.
Yeah.
Those ones
That's
that
awesome.
stuck out.
Ethan, do you have any, and they could be of your own series. It's all right.
Discovery.
I'd be curious about your own series.
Strange New
We have
Worlds.
2 series.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, forgive me, Ethan. My buddy Chuck was telling me. Do you have a medical show that's coming up or something?
No, that's Quinto.
That is cute. Okay.
Yeah. That's very funny.
See? Oh, that's quite all right. I love that I made the mistake.
I've
Please
had
continue.
people hand me photos of Quinto to sign, and I'm
That's hilarious.
Wrong.
Wrong guy.
Wrong.
like, okay.
Exactly. Do you sign Zach Quinto? You should.
No, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I really liked Inner Light. I like.
Oh, excellent, yeah.
a lot. And I'm forgetting the name of Data's origin story. It's
With the doctor when
Yes.
when he meets his father.
what is it called?
Brothers.
Brothers.
Yes, I love that episode. I love Brent Spiner, and I love the character Data. So
I gotta say I love it. And next to the musical episode, I love I'm terrible with episode names too. The one with the doctor, it's the mythical one where like.
Alicia.
Oh, the fairy tale.
Yes, I love that episode. It's so perfect seeing you guys all dressed up in old time, so it's perfect. And
That was fun. That was
thank
super
you
fun.
all so much for Trek, and you're doing our Trek fans proud. I mean, don't believe all the people on Twitter.
thanks.
We love the new Trek. I love it.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
Before landing the role in Strange New Worlds, and keeping in mind that there were only 2 correct answers, did either one of you watch any of the prior Star Trek series? And if so, which one was your favorite?
Lower Decks is my favorite track.
But before getting cast, is that what you mean?
Yeah, sure, before getting cast.
Before getting,
If you had watched any of the prior series before getting cast.
I didn't watch any of it prior to getting cast. My mom, again, is a huge Trekkie, and so
I can't believe she didn't make you watch any.
Yeah, shocking.
Well, it's because I was young. But I remember going to the movie theaters to watch the movies with her, so Zoe's my first Uhura. But yeah, I mean, we watched so much of the original series when I was in like the casting process, and so, I mean, the original series I loved, Next Generation I saw a few episodes of and enjoyed. Just, Trek is great. And so I
What was your mom's favorite series?
oh, my mom's favorite series was Deep Space Nine.
Nice.
That was the correct answer.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Kelvin timeline films.
Me too.
Okay.
I actually had never really seen the show. I mean, I was like, 4, 5, 6, 7 when Next Gen was airing. And it was I remember they would talk about infinity and, bigger concepts for, a 6-year-old. I was like, this makes me uncomfortable. So I kind of missed the boat on that. And then, the movies came around and I watched those.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
When did Next Gen come out?
89 to 96.
There you go.
Missed that.
Hi, guys. Thank you for being here today. I had gotten in line with a Subspace Rhapsody question teed up, which I'm not going to go over old ground except to say, Ethan, you had already sung Gilbert and Sullivan in a turbo lift.
Right.
Rebecca Romaine. How could you have been surprised?
Short treks?
I guess so, yeah, that's true.
But my other question is, one of my favorite moments in the last season was when Spock temporarily became fully human, and a delightfully neurotic human at that. But at the same time, for me, it felt very genuinely Spock. So I wanted to ask you about your process of coming up with that sort of bump in your character arc and how you kept it authentic. And Celia, for you, representing the rest of the cast, what was it like to have to react to that?
Unfortunately, I didn't get a lot of time with human Spock that episode, and I'm mad. But yeah, I mean, it was a wonderful episode to watch and to be in the sidelines of, but take it away.
Yeah, it was really sad. The first thing that comes to mind is it was so sad to say goodbye to human Spock, because to be so emotive on the ship, on the Enterprise, in this world was just such a relief. Because a lot of people ask me, is it fun to play Spock? Now, it's really amazing to be this character, and it's an incredible honor and privilege. But he's not having a good time, a lot of the time, And so the actor is not really, so sort of has a similar experience. We have a lot of fun between takes, but so to kind of all the things that I cover in the performance that are happening inside of him, I got to kind of just unveil with human Spock. And so I really enjoyed that. And it was, when I did get the script, I was really intimidated because I was like, oh my gosh, this feels really well written and it feels very Spockian to some degree, but making sure that it stayed tethered to this character that we know was something that I was really conscious of and nervous about. But I have, an amazing cast, and we had a great director for that, Jordan Canning. She's kind of the Spock whisperer. She directs a lot of the funny Spock episodes.
Truly.
But yeah, it was really sad to say goodbye to that character because it was just fun to be sort of so unhinged.
Yeah, well,
super uncorked,
Well, it was extraordinary. I'm glad you got to go there.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God, sitting next to you now, I can't help but notice how small your ears are, in a good way.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, how high, when they do the points and stuff, does it get?
Maybe another half inch.
Okay, all right. Again, you can't tell from TV. You have lovely ears too. Excuse me.
Thank you. I was waiting for that. They look a lot bigger on TV, I think, the prosthetic ears, just because I had them too for that coming up. But it's just this wild process of your eyebrows are growing back. Welcome back to the eyebrows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. They're pretty much growing back.
Yeah, no, they're great.
Yeah. Oh, you both look great. How long are you in the chair for makeup and stuff?
For prosthetics, it's 1 hour and 12 minutes.
All right, that's not. I mean, God, poor Armin and the aliens and Andrew tomorrow, Deep Space Nine people. I'm sure it was 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever.
Yeah, Michael Dornan.
Yes, my God, yeah, absolutely, my God. Oof. So, sorry, Constantine, please ask a question.
Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, I beg your pardon, sir. I'm sorry.
So we need to have a Star Trek DC crossover.
Oh, that'd be good.
DC crossover.
Yeah, why not?
I can see Batman on the Enterprise.
Well, they did the Green Lantern Corps and I believe Next Generation in IDW.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, comic books, man.
Oh, right.
You know your stuff. Very
Listen,
cool.
why do you think I'm sitting next to you? This is why I'm here, exactly. And I do, chapter and folks, I honestly, I'm like grandma with her soap operas. You represent my stories.
Got it.
So it's very appreciated, absolutely.
Do you think we would like fight
Who?
superheroes from DC?
I can see you fighting the Joker.
Me?
Yeah.
Play the Joker?
Sweet.
No, fighting the Joker.
Fighting the
Yeah,
Joker.
I mean,
Ooh,
Spock
Mr.
would
Spock gets the
kill
Joker.
the Joker.
Yeah.
Spock's
yeah.
got some good moves.
That'd be interesting.
Drop that, Mo.
Exactly, man. One pitch.
Yeah. Spock
So,
and Benga, they'd
Have you
they'd
done
be
the
fighting
pitch
people.
yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Forgive me for not remembering, but yeah, okay, excellent.
So what was it like growing up with Michael?
Sorry?
What was it like growing up with Michael?
Oh, Michael Burnham?
Yeah.
Yeah, question.
Yeah, you mean as in the character?
I mean, yeah.
You're speaking of Spock now.
I
Backstory.
mean, she's so emotional, and you're trying to deal with being emotional growing up.
Yeah.
Being a Vulcan.
Yeah, it was great because the Spock is in this society and culture that deems his humanness to be very inferior.
Right.
And so to have the education of humanness from Michael and from Amanda, his mother, was hugely impactful and hugely important. And that education, I think, continues with a lot of characters on the Enterprise. Pike with Nurse Chapel and his romantic relationships. So, yeah, it was essential to who he is.
I was curious what your thoughts are about every time there's a new Star Trek, they seem to rewrite origins, like in the I forget which movie it was, one of the newer movies. Spock and Uhura had a relationship, and they're coming out of the academy having had a relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
And then
Chapel?
yeah, and then you're with Nurse Chapel in this one.
Yeah.
So it's like different worlds.
I think they're canonically
Totally.
different universes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's Kelvin, and we're prime timeline.
That's true.
Prime time, baby.
Prime time!
Did. Man, speaking of growing up with Michael, I want a flashback scene of Michael, Spock, and Sybok at the dinner table, and I could see Michael and actually, ironically, Sarek representing the Vulcan idea because Michael was trained to think Vulcan,
Right.
and Sybok being the more emotional brother
That's
and siding with
interesting.
Amanda,
Yeah.
and you're sitting in the middle like, I don't know who the hell to be with right now, you know? Yeah.
Totally.
So yeah, throw that to the writers if you will.
I will do.
That's my suggestion.
Thank you.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that could be the Christmas episode,
there you
or
go.
at least flashback to it. Hilarious.
I'm looking forward to the next season, and thank you for all that you've given us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Very cool.
Hello, I have just two quick questions. First one's for Celia. Did you tell your mom you were going to be in the same building as Armin, Andrew, and Nana? And if so, how was her reaction?
I didn't have knowledge of that until you just brought it to my attention right now.
You should get her some autographs.
Yeah, they're down the road from you guys.
No, she would lose her sweet mind. She's very honestly, the person that she's most excited about is this guy, and yeah, she loves you so dearly. But no, she I think is super duper proud of me. She's also an actor, and so she understands how like wild this industry can be sometimes and how you like brush shoulders with your heroes all the time. And so, yeah, I will let her know. And when my ears stop ringing from her screaming directly into a microphone, I'll let you know how she responds.
The second question is, you talked about doing a Christmas movie. Now, back in the 80s, there was another Christmas movie that kind of faded into obscurity from a completely different brand.
Star Wars?
Yeah. Can you make sure that doesn't happen with your Christmas movie?
Yeah, we'll make sure that it's a banger.
All right.
Yeah, don't cast B. Arthur for your Star Trek holiday special. Exactly.
Hi. Hello. So, Mirror Universe. Obviously, technically, we have seen Spock and Uhura, what they're like there. But I'm curious if Strange New Worlds were to do a Mirror episode, how do you think that your versions of the characters would be in that universe? Like, what kind of hopes would you have for that?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah, I would request a full shirt for Uhura. But I think, I don't know, that seems like a logical...
Whoa.
Rubbed off.
I'm so sorry.
Can't get the Vulcan out of you.
No, every time I say logical, I have to pay Ethan $7.
Whenever anyone says logical or fascinating on me, I'm like, really?
Really, in front of me, in front of my salad. But yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense for us to do. That sounds really exciting. I don't know. I'd want like a full shirt and a cool knife. Like I want to really do it like different look entirely. Like I don't know. The opportunities
we be
are
world
endless.
conquerors. I mean, I think especially with Spock because he's so pure and has such integrity, and he's such a humanistic and wonderful person that he could just be diabolically bad. I mean, supervillain status.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Uhura would like be very like reckless. I feel like
I feel like she'd be like a spy, like kind of.
She would not be at her station. She'd be like up in engineering, like in the walls, trying to like
doing bad stuff.
Yeah, doing like just,
being deceitful.
Yes, lying. Really like very quiet,
pretending
not
to be nice,
very
but then being like really bad.
Yeah. Like really just fucking shit up. Excuse me.
No, it's all right. That's all right. We can handle it.
I mean, I think communications officer could get a lot of information.
Or she could like spread a lot of false information.
Absolutely.
Like a lot of
fake news.
Yeah.
Fakenews.com.
Yeah. No, that would be a commentary. My goodness. But yeah, I mean, the opportunities, especially with the Mirror Universe, the opportunities are kind of endless, and our writers love to throw us new and unexpected things. So I don't know. If it happens, we'll credit you.
Thank you.
I have to ask my own nerdy question, and it's just kind of a philosophy. Do you guys think Starfleet is a military organization? Oh, I love the ooh response. But and really, there's no right answer. I'm just curious of what you think. Is it a military organization?
I think so.
You do or do not?
I think it is as Star Trek is a representation of our world. I think
currently,
what did old boy want to do? SpaceX, Space Force.
Space Force was Trump. Yeah. Space Force.
So
NASA. I mean, and I know originally, certainly there are nautical themes to it. I just wonder, as you guys are playing it, and as it's written right now. And I'm not even saying like hardcore Marines or any of the real hardcore war
I call it the
aspect.
Space Navy.
Yeah, or even the Coast Guard is something I've always said. Ethan, I think
it's scientific.
And that's fine. But rather than a military group?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, like, military's not an adjective that I wouldn't include. But I would say first and foremost, it's scientific. Yeah.
Truly wanted your honest opinions.
Yeah,
Honestly, that's what I was looking for. So thank you.
Question.
Oh, thank you, Luigi.
Hi there.
It's a me. It's a me. That was great.
First, I wanted to say thank you both for being like the first new live-action Trek that's a little bit more family-friendly, because I think most of us got exposed to Star Trek as kids, and so this is Strange New Worlds is the first series that like I can show my younger cousins and all that. And
except for that episode where we kill that kid.
Oh my God!
But that was a great episode.
Hey, you haven't beheaded anybody.
True.
I also wanted to say, Celia, I loved all your scenes with Uhura and Hemmer, that relationship, and I hope that we'll be able to see more of that, even though he's no longer with the crew. But anyway, my question is, you talked about looking a little bit at the original series and then not wanting to, of course, copy too much or anything. But was there anything that you saw in Nichelle Nichols' performance or Leonard Nimoy's performance where you were like, oh, that's Spock? I get now, like the overall, when I approach a scene, that's what makes something Spock-like or Uhura-like, like that you kind of still use in your own approach, maybe.
There's who wants to go first?
You begin.
Okay, I will begin. There is one scene that I go back to a lot, and that is when she's talking to Spock and asking her about moon sets on Vulcan, and what does she say? She has her head in her hands and she's looking up very dreamily, and she's like, "Why don't you tell me I'm a very attractive woman?" or something. Excuse me. She says something very I study her in her work environment, and that is something I understand. But to learn recreational Uhura. It's a weird way to phrase it. But yeah, like Uhura when she's not super businessy all the time.
Off-duty.
Yeah, off duty. That's the better word. That is one scene that I look to. I just like to see her when she's not like performing and putting it on. I want to see her in her most natural environments, and that's often when she's talking to her crew. So that's one scene where she's like really just her most relaxed, and I think her most playful. And I think that's a key difference between her Uhura and mine, is that my Uhura hasn't really had, and so far she hasn't had an opportunity to get like real playful and silly. And so just it's good to keep that version of her in sort of the forefront of my mind, so that I know that it will, when it does come to me, it comes from a very authentic and studied place.
I'll be honest. What was your question again? I'd forgotten it all.
Oh, just saying, like when you were looking at Leonard Nimoy's performance of Spock, was there anything from his performance that you were like?
Yeah. So you asked me for a specific scene. That's amazing. I was like, did you ask for a scene? Because I don't really have that reference. But there, I think a lot of his behavior on the bridge, I think it's so interesting that he, I think as people, some of us tend to process when we receive information from the universe around us. Some of us can receive it in a way that's very informational, right? Like I woke up at 6 and I had eggs and drank coffee. No, this is just an example. No, and I think some of us will also imagine then what it feels like to wake up at 6 and eat eggs and have coffee, right? So for some people, it's just like, oh yeah, that's you almost like writing notes in your head or something, and you're not really empathizing with it. And I think with Spock and in Leonard's performance of it, there are times when you see, I think he's always experiencing things emotionally, but he chooses to respond in a more informational manner, if that makes sense. Yeah. And then, which I think is what makes him special, right? Is because he has this incredible ability to empathize and feel, and oftentimes he masks it because he grew up in this world where he wasn't supposed to be feeling. And so I think of him on the bridge, processing information in that sort of way. Does that kind of make sense?
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you again, both. You guys are doing a great job, so it's wonderful to watch.
Thank you.
Before we get to the last two, is anyone going to ask about Nurse Chapel or no? And it's okay if you're not, because then I'll ask about Nurse Chapel. Man, she totally dissed you. And I love Jess, and I truly love the dynamic that you guys have, but that writer's turn of, and I know that obviously Roger Corby.
Yeah, she broke up with you via song.
Yes, man. That was cold, man. And she's got a whole chorus of people behind you. You suck, man. I don't know how to break it to you. And I know Roger Corby is coming, and that's great. And I love that they're going to explore that. But really, yeah, I mean, so that had to be, the whole roller coaster of what's happened so far between you and Jess. Tell me about playing that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up all this pain.
Well, sorry, man.
I'm just kidding.
I know you are.
No, I think the intention with that, and I'm just sort of theorizing here, is that Spock becomes the way he is because I think of these interactions that really crush him.
Yes. Oh my God.
And he decides, maybe I won't be so human because it's much easier to go through the world and the universe feeling less. I think maybe some people experience that in their own lives, So I think that's sort of the intention with, I'm ready to absolutely break your heart, leave you in the dust.
The way you phrase the idea that these now my heart breaks for Spock. Oh yes. Dear God! Like the musical episode, and then what we put you through in the Vulcan episode. To think about those are the things that shape him and sort of shield him from his own humanity. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it hurts to be human.
Yeah, that
Don't you all think?
That hurts.
Sometimes.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's wonderful.
That's great.
It's easier to be Vulcan, It's less hurt.
That's a great answer, truly, and I think that does kind of give a lot of good back thought to where you're going. You also have, the two of you have plot armor as well, and you'll forgive me, but you'll survive to the original series. So as much as, holy crap, what's going to happen with the Gorn, it's like, well, I know Uhura and Chapel and M'Benga and Spock and Scotty,
Maybe we get cloned by some
hilarious
ship, and then our versions die, and the
fantastic
version that
I'm all for that. If that is
not canon. I'm making it up right now.
Another good answer. That was excellent. Hilarious. I'm sorry. Please, everybody continue.
Hi, folks. First of all, I just want to say thank you for being here and for being so kind to the fandom and to the community. Second, Strange New Worlds is just such a fun show. And one of the things that makes it so fun is just how much we're playing around with the timeline and with like the fabric of the Star Trek universe. I know through some of the previous questions that both of you have had exposure to some of the other bits of Star Trek canon. So if, as your character, you could go any place else in the Star Trek universe, where would you want to go, or what other characters would you want to interact with?
Oh, goodness.
I would like to have, so I'm speaking of Spock now. I would like to have a battle to the death with Kelvin Spock. Hilarious. There can only be one.
There can only be one.
And I mean, this will always be my answer. I think Nimoy's Spock informed the performance of Brent as Data, who I think informed the performance of me, and I would love to have scenes with Data.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, battle to the death.
Battle to the death. That's the priority, is the death battle. I think there is, and this is a very selfish answer, I apologize. I think there is something really wonderful about how different Nichelle Nichols Uhura and my Uhura is, and I think it's truly not possible, which breaks my heart. But I would love an opportunity for Uhura to meet her future self, and for her to sort of see how her trauma has informed her joy. I think that would be wonderful for her. And also I think she would benefit from like meeting Michael Burnham and seeing another captain, seeing another Black woman captain. I think that would be really good for her understanding of her place on the Enterprise. And I think I've given you 3 answers now, but also I think someone will correct me also. I think canonically Uhura was a mentor to a young Picard. Is that fake? It's fake. Fantastic. Never mind.
What about if you went to the Kelvin's timeline and battled out of her to the death?
I would lose.
Zoe.
I would lose so quick. Zoe Saldana would kick my ass and I'd say, thank you. Beautiful, thank you. I don't let this build fool you. I am not as strong as I
You're pretty athletic. I don't know about that.
I can do like a cartwheel, but that's not like as sick as like
We see that in a lot of battles to the
highly
death.
trained dancer.
I did ballet from the ages 3 to 13. It's been 10 years since I last taken a dance class.
Have you had a chance to talk to Nana about having musical backgrounds and everything?
No, I haven't. I've been.
Come to the panel tomorrow.
We'll have that conversation then. But funny you mentioned that. Anthony Rapp, who was in Discovery, he was the first person, before my mom, he was the first person I called to tell him that I was going to be in the Trek universe. Wow. He's another musical theater legend. Yeah.
Oh,
he and my mother did a musical together forever ago. And so they bonded over Trek. And when I found out I booked it, I was like, we have to call Anthony. Anthony will understand. And so, yeah, he was and is a fantastic sort of mentor role of somebody who can juggle being a Broadway performer and a Trek performer, and he's done it so well, and I have such respect for him. And so he was definitely somebody I called and was like, so how? Yeah,
he's amazing.
He's the best, yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you both for both the selfish answers and the vicious ones.
Thank you.
That's good.
Anytime.
This is the last question, sir.
All right, so I have a question for Celia. So Uhura is kind of the thinker on the ship. She's the communications officer. She's probably the reader. What kind of books do you think that she reads? Would she read nonfiction or, like schlocky romance, the type of books that would probably make Spock cry?
I think she reads, I think canonically she reads a lot of sonnets. She reads a lot of, I think it's Tellurian sonnets. Ortegas makes a little joke about how she stays up all night reading sonnets. So I think she reads a lot of romance, a lot of love poetry. She has a lot of loss in her life, and I think she is she's a yearner at heart. You don't really see much of it, but I know because we are one. I think she reads a lot of romance, a lot of old books, a lot of whatever the Star Trek equivalent is to Shakespeare. She reads a lot of that, I would say.
And then Ethan, just a quick question. Have you ever, or has the writers ever talked about maybe going and visiting the unification subplot in the earlier years of Spock's life?
The what?
The Romulan Vulcan
Trying to get
subplot.
Vulcan and Romulan together. That was unification in Next Generation time and a thing that Spock was doing. Do you think in your timeline?
Yeah, especially if there is a Christmas episode, a ghost of, future, past, and present could come into that.
I have no idea. Maybe. That sounds really cool. I mean, I think it'd be really cool to interface Spock with Romulans.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Don't
Very cool.
do? Nope.
That's excellent. So they haven't announced an actual, I mean, they said next year, obviously, but for season 3, is there like spring? Is it, do we know? We don't know.
Tonight. No,
Is it that? We all wish it was. We're bummed that we have to wait a year, especially after seeing the Vulcan scene.
Yeah, I mean, they're still in post-production.
Sure. Well, that's fair.
Yeah, hopefully next first quarter next year is my guess.
Will
my
be
estimation.
released at a point in time.
In the future.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. Do I have time for one more question? Real fast. Anson. Because the guy number 1 on the call. Well, I don't even know if technically he is number 1 on the call sheet.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, he's like the quarterback of the team and everything. If you could both really fast, just Anson and working with Anson.
Yeah, he is the captain of our crew, of course, and he takes on that role as a captain should. And it's really, it's funny, we spend a lot of our time together really just on the bridge, and my back is to him often.
Sure.
And so he seems very in control of what happens on the bridge, and so he's like what's the most valuable piece on a chessboard? Is it the queen or the king?
Well, the queen's the most valuable, but
and he's sort of a jack of all trades. He does a little bit of everything,
Sure.
and so it's really like impressive to witness how much he does. And yeah, I just as he is on screen, he has a very strong presence, very commanding presence. That I think comes quite naturally to him.
Yeah, I would say that he sort of set the tone of the show with his performance and with the speed at which he spoke. I mean, things like this you don't really think about when you watch a television show. And yeah, he comes prepared and is very consistent. So
and from a story standpoint, it's great because when we first see Pike, it's that 2-parter, the menagerie, and you can see the seeds of why Spock would risk his career to give Captain Pike a better life. And again, that older brother, younger brother mentorship, I think, has been there from your first episodes together, and I think it's great.
Yeah.
That's excellent. You're both killing it,
Thank
truly.
you.
Thank you.
And we're all excited for season 3. Great questions, everybody. Thank these wonderful people for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for your questions.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Bonnie Gordon, and you're watching Fandom Spotlight. Make sure to like and subscribe before the self-destructs in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just kidding. Have fun and follow your fandom.